Matt's garage here, and we're going to start stripping down this car. It's a parts car, but we have to get the powertrain out first. That's the first step here. Somebody's already bought the transmission off me, so I want to get that removed right away. And it's always a lot easier to see what you're doing if you start by removing the hood. And because it's a parts car, we're probably going to remove the hood anyway, so that's going to be our first step. Better if you have two people to do this, but it's a small hood, I think I can manage. One important note, you should disconnect the washer fluid hose before you remove the hood. Oh, am I going to get that lucky? I'm going to get that lucky. Awesome. Oh, it's got some glue around the hinges. But we'll see. Yeah, brute force is going to do it this time. If you run into that, you might have to take a razor blade and just slice around the base of the hinge a little. Okay. Again, always better with two people. There we go. Now I can get a proper grip on it. Not that heavy. It's awkward. You have to pack it like that. And when you're setting down one of these hoods, you want to be careful not to set it down too hard on the corners. I've seen a lot of people wreck hoods. They drop it onto the concrete and fold the corner over. So. Okay, so next you want to jack up the car, and in this case we're going to take the front wheels off pretty quick here, but just wanted to talk to you a bit about jacking up cars, because especially on the older cars like I often work on, the area that the factory recommends to jack up in, like this area, often gets very rusted. You can see back here, this is another recommended jacking location on this car, and there's nothing left of it. So you're going to have to come up with an alternative location. Now back here I would go with this suspension mounting point, and they're normally a pretty safe bet if you go with suspension mounting points. Up here, same thing. I instead of jacking here on the base of the rocker panel on the pinch welder the factory recommends, I jacked here under the suspension. This is the sway bar bracket, I guess. Oh, and the control arm bracket. Control arm bracket, actually that's the sway bar bracket back there. And this area of the car is called the torque box, and it's actually the strongest area of any car because it's where the front frame sections mount into the rest of the car. So it's kind of like a central point where all the structure of the car connects up. So it's there's several layers of metal there, and it's very strong. So I tried to jack on the suspension point, and then I used some blocking underneath of the main frame rail here. Even though it's a unibody, you still would call that a frame rail, and I prefer to use wood blocking because it spreads out the weight a bit more, and likewise on the floor it's sort of more of a stable base. I've actually had jack stands on like dirt floors. I've had them sink into the floor and stuff, and also a lot of them have pretty crappy welds on them because they're made in China and whatnot, unless you buy good ones. So myself, I like wood blocks. They don't damage the undercarriage of the car either. When they set on a point, they don't create a scar in the paint surface or anything. Not that that would be much of an issue on this car, but yeah, basically that's my philosophies on jacking and blocking up a car. And you can see how solid this is, you know. I can pull on it and it's not going anywhere. And then for added security, when you get your wheels off, you can put your wheels down and shove them under the car out of your way as well. So, okay, so we're just going to pop the wheels off here. I'd already done that one off camera. So, and then I just wanted to talk to you quickly. If you're swapping over wheels, you'd want to clean this corrosion up, and you'd want to clean this up, because you always want a nice base when you're putting your wheel on your hub. Otherwise, you could have vibrations, or your wheel could come loose, or something to that effect. Also, take some time and wire wheel your studs. Put a little oil on them before you put your lug nuts back on. Things like that will make it go a lot smoother next time you go to have your wheels off. Now that you got your wheel off, just roll it back here and slide it under the car out of your way. Now if your blocking was to fail, you have a secondary system to hold the car up. So we'll come around and do the same on the other side. Whoop. There we go. It's as easy as that. So now we have to get the axles out. So I'm going to try and do it the same way I do on the Neons, kinda, and see if that works. So I haven't done one of these cars yet. So there's a brake line clip back here. Let me grab the camera and I'll show it to you. And this is kind of a common clip that you'll run into also on locks and door locks and a few things. And what you want to do is, see, it's like a horseshoe clip. See right there? So you want to get on the back side here with the bar like this and pry and push it loose. This one is really stuck. Hard to do one-handed. You could use a hammer too and tap on it, but you want to try and avoid bending the clip is all. There we go. Just like that. Okay, and now that the clip's loose, the line will pull through the hole, and then the rest will go through the slot there. There, and then your brake line's free. So now we have lots of slack in the caliper, because I'm going to take these two strut bolts out, and then I'm going to try and lean this out enough to tap the axle. I might have to disconnect the tie rod, but we'll just see. So, and this is the correct way to bend a cotter pin. Make sure you zoom in there, buddy. You bend it over the top of the shank of the stud or whatever, and then you bend the other end down. You don't bend them to the side. This is the correct way. So I just wanted to point that out since it was here. Somebody else did that, not me, but that's how I bend them too. Okay, good, bud. You can zoom back. Sometimes these things can be a little stubborn. Just gotta grab a screwdriver here. Somebody's folded the end over double here, so get in there and there, we got her. break right off. That works too. Okay. One thing you can do to get them out a little easier, put your needle nose through the end and then just tap on your needle nose like that. And there's that, and then we're going to need a big socket for that, but we'll do that in a moment. We're just going to put your earplugs in there, bud. Okay, and I just love this when people put two different size fasteners here, but okay. Oh, that one's a different size too. But we'll see if that'll even turn if I... Yeah, she's gonna turn. Give me a moment. Okay, that might do it. No, not even close. Oh, I can hold it with these. I can hold it with these. There we go. And then these, I normally just... For some reason that works way better on a neon. There, that's how they should come out. Put your parts in some sort of holding device, old coffee can or a box or whatever, so they're all together and not lost. If you can thread something back on, like these, I could put the washer on and I could thread the nut on. Do things like that, little things like that will make your life easier when you go back together. This is just a parts vehicle, so I'm probably not going to worry about that too much, but any part you can do that on, thread the fastener back into or slide it back into a hole just so you know what hole it came out of or whatever. Like if you're taking off your old water pump, put all the bolts back in, some are a different length, put all of them back in the old one, and then when you put the new one on, you can pluck them out one at a time and transfer them to the new one, then you know where they go. So hey there, so we're back. We got our big socket here. I think it was 32 millimeter. Yeah, 32 millimeter socket here on this 87 Nissan Pulsar axle. It's going to be the same on older Sentras too. I'm not going to use my air impact for this because I'm using my electric impact on this teardown, and I haven't even got my air compressor turned on. So what you can do then, if you're in that situation, this is going to want to spin, you can get a buddy to sit in the car and hold his feet on the brakes and stop it that way. If you've got to slot it like a brake rotor with vent slots here, you can try and put a 1/4 inch extension in there or a heavy screwdriver or something to hold it against the caliper and keep it from slipping, but as you can see we don't have that here. So we're going to go with the buddy inside the car holding the brakes. So my cameraman Nash is going to do that. So we're going to have to put the camera down now. Did I say that my ratchet never breaks? I guess I lied. It broke. The funny part is I've used this ratchet so much. I don't know if you can see all the beat marks on it and how rounded this is, but I had to put weld on there just to hold my snipe bar from sliding off. That's just to grip on my snipe bar better. And then this time when I broke it, I also had a extension in there like that, so it was that long. And we've been having a heck of a time getting these axle nuts broke loose. We did get the other side off, but we had to put the wheel back on. Only one of the wheels had the center cap out, so I used the wheel from one side on both, but yeah, we had to put that back on, and we just put some blocking under there so we didn't have to lower the car back down, and just 2 lug nuts to hold it, and we got the other one that way. So once I find a breaker bar or something that won't break, we'll get this one that way too. But holy, never seen axle nuts quite this bad. They are on there. So we got this loose now finally on this side as well. And Just to give you an idea how tight it was, this is what we had to do. This friggin' long of a snipe. And I was bouncing on the end of that. Now, carnage wise, I broke this old torque wrench that I actually bought it as a surplus item. It was returned to a store and it wasn't accurate, so I just bought it for a breaker bar anyways, but it broke. And then, oh, sorry about the noise there. Then I welded this old extension onto my bar here, and it was bending the bar, as you can see there, and then twisted off the extension. So then I welded my socket directly to my bar, and I really was trying to avoid that, but I can grind that off and still save my socket, and I had no other way to do it. So you got to do what you got to do sometimes. It's a lot better than buying specialty tools or going and paying somebody to get it off with different tools. I make something that'll get it off. So there we go, got her off. On to the next thing. Okay, so we're to this point, and I've already done the other side to confirm what I already thought, that you can do them like the Neon. You just have to pull them out of the strut, loosen up the brake line, get the axle nut off and the washer, which just fell. So then you can get in behind here. Sometimes you just gotta give it a tap from the front side with the hammer, but these ones came out real easy. And you just go like that. Now you can use a pry bar in the end of the transmission housing to pop the C-clip off to get the axle out of that end. Make sure you have a catch pan under there because there'll be oil dripping down when you do that. And then the nice part is now I can put this back up here and bolt this together to roll the car around. I should mention in doing that I may be damaging these wheel bearings, because you should have them torqued up tight. You should have an axle stub in the hub when you're rolling the car around, even if you're just rolling it around with people pushing it. I've heard of instances where these bearings have been damaged by doing that. So I just wanted to put that warning out there as I say this, but I'm not going to worry about it in this instance, because I would probably replace these wheel bearings anyways if I was using this car again. So right now we're just doing a tear down, so we're not going to worry about things like that. So we're back and we're just working on the top side here, and I wanted to show you these little clips here, and they can be a real pain, but if you take a pair of needle nose and just go like that, you can squeeze them and get them out without damaging. The trick is to get them from the right side, just like that. So I just also want to show you that it's important to keep dirt out of things no matter what, even if you're just saving parts. I might need this radiator down the road, so go ahead and plug these off. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the engine, because I'm still going to hang on to this engine. Probably got some good parts on it that I'll need one day. That's what I use. I just use shop towels. I think you can actually get kits online that are like a bunch of rubber plugs for doing things like this, but whatever. There's always stuff you can buy that's easier, but I like to work with what I got. So okay, so we're chugging right along on the Pulsar here, and I just wanted to show you a little tech tip as I went here. Probably not news to a lot of you, but when you have a hose that you can't get off very easily, you know, you pull on it and it just won't go, what you got to do is give it a good twist, and just sort of twist it off like that. Because, and make sure you have a drain pan under there. I do have a drain pan under there, by the way. Because basically what happens is it just gets glued on here, and it bonds to there, and you just got to give it a twist to break that bond, and then it will come off pretty easily. Just wanted to show you the radiator that came out of this car. This is hilarious. nothing left for fins in there. But it's not leaking. I wonder how cool that was keeping the car. Maybe that has something to do with the blown head gasket. Another little tip for you here. I've run into this screw here that's stubborn, that doesn't want to come out under normal force on the ground, on the distributor here. And so what you want to do is you take your normal screwdriver that you'd use on that screw, and you get a hammer and you just lightly tap as you're turning. And what that does is break the corrosion in the threads of the screw, and it also keeps your screwdriver seated down in the screw. That one is beyond stubborn. Okay, well, we'll get back at that with some heat and some oil and we'll get it, but that works on a lot of them. Okay, well, I just I put a little heat on it and then squirted a little 3-in-1 on it, and I gave it another quick tap, and see, got her right loose there. Unfortunately, there's no master plug for the wiring harness on this car, so I have to take every single plug off individually. Quite fun. So this little Nissan doesn't have a master plug on the wiring harness, so I'm having to take all the plugs off and take the harness off that way. And I just wanted to show you these unique little clips. I mean, I have run into similar clips before, but they're just not that common. And so how these work is they go around in a groove there, and they hook over. See, on the plug, there's a couple bumps on each side, and they hook under the bump. They go right around it, around the whole connector, and hook over the bump. So what I did, little pick, little screwdriver, or I used the tip of the blade on my Swiss Army knife and just pulled them out on one edge and then sort of pulled it off that way. So you always got to look really close at your electrical connectors, because there's about 100 different ways that they have them. They're not standardized at all. Even on one car they have a whole bunch of different ones, and if you break them, then you could be really in trouble when you go to put it back together and can't get that connector to stay together. So pay attention to that and be gentle. Gentle is the word of the day for those plastic connectors. So I just wanted to show you guys one other quick thing here. Is so this hose is on here, and it's on here pretty good. It's been on here since the car was new, so it's kind of formed a bond with that fitting. So before you go pulling for all your worth on there, what you want to do is give it a good twist. And you may even need to get a pair of pliers to help out with the situation. Broken that bond, and I just used the I didn't use the real grippy part, so I didn't damage the hose. Now that hose comes off really easy with no damage. Got another hose down there. Just gonna set that somewhere there. This engine even has lifting eyes, so I'm a little spoiled there. So I'm down to the last couple things: speedo cable, clutch cable. I've got all the hoses and wiring now, and then I've got to do the engine and transmission mounts yet. So keep watching. I got all the lining out from under the car and the wheel wells there, and I've got I sawzalled the exhaust. Lots of room to work on this one. Enjoying this. I just wanted to make sure you have some boxes and put all your parts in one spot, organize them. These plastic things can be annoying to figure out where to go. It's like a puzzle, so I've left one clip in holding the two pieces together, the side panel and the underbelly panel, and that way it will be a lot easier to figure out where it goes and how. I'll just let you watch as I get the exhaust off here. Already got it cut underneath, so I just got to get the 3-bolt flange off here. Get the hardest bolt at the back first, I guess. Nuts, rather, not bolts. Well, none of those are hard. So I'm just under here getting the mount off now. Yeah. So just as the previous owner had promised me, this was recently replaced, but I don't know about that. Looks like somebody had some fun. According to engine masters, that's not a problem though. Shouldn't reduce horsepower, especially not on this little 4-banger, so I might reuse that. Yeah, it's not too bad. Holy, there's literally oil dripping out of that, so I'd say that engine was pretty done. These flex pipes are really nice. If you can incorporate one of those into your system, it will help a lot to reduce engine vibrations, and if you ever do hook your exhaust on something, it will prevent you from busting a manifold gasket or something worse even. So we are just down to the motor mounts now. I'm probably going to wheel my engine hoist over here soon and get it hooked up. I'm so happy they put these nice, you know, lifting eyes on here. A lot of engines don't have that, and you gotta get creative, but if I have those, it'll be no problem. Okay, so we got our crane set up now, and we're going to start taking the engine mounts off. So we might as well start with the easy ones on top here. Well, I don't know if I'd call that easy. Okay, so I've got everything free now, and we're ready to start lifting, so we're just going to do that. And as you're lifting, of course, you're still watching for stuff that you may have missed, because there's always something you missed. Like that last mount bolt. I left that loose in there just so it wouldn't swing around actually. Okay. I had a bit of trouble back there. I broke a bolt on the rear mount, so I took the mounting bracket off the engine instead of the center bolt out of the mount. Everything's free. I just gotta get to a point where it's pulled out of that cherry mount. Get a pry bar to help that along. Of course, my pry bar's under the car. And it has to go down and out. Kill this for a minute. Okay, so we went ahead and got that mount out of the way. That mount, I'll just show you what was happening. It had the zero on it and it was catching there on the other mount part, so I was trying to leave that with the tranny. I'm trying to leave things as complete as I can as I take it apart here, and then decide what needs to stay and go after, because I'm selling this transmission, so had to take that off anyway. Now it should be free. There's always that one unaccounted for thing, and just watch you don't pinch any wires as well as you're lifting up here. Jeez, is that my ground cable is still on too. That's handy. I'll get it. It's in an awkward place. Yeah, there we go. So, cable is free. Now everything should be. Oh, that was just that. Was hooking a little on that rear mount too. It's kind of the key is just jiggle it and look around as you're going up. Yeah, we're looking good. Nothing in this. Okay, just a little bit. It is nice to have a helper, especially if you terribly worried about the car, but in this case, no, it's the parts car, so it's not like I'm worried about scraping the paint or anything. Okay, now we're gonna pull it free. I've got big ridges in my floor, so bear with me here. Two guys are going on, get some leverage here. See what you're seeing. Oh, got it pretty good. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get some blocking put under there. Blocking across the crane, and then I can sort of set it on the feet of the crane here. There we go. So there's what we're left with. Nice big engine bay. Looks like I got a newer alternator on there. Got a newer one on my other Pulsar as well. One thing I find annoying about these cars is the oil filter location. Kind of a pain. So that concludes my Pulsar teardown video. I'll probably do some more videos here, but that's the engine removal and whatnot. I'll be removing some other parts, so I may do other videos. Thanks for watching.